But
Yeah,
hey,
man.
keep it thorough Thursdays. We back, episode 26. Learning the true self, very important topic. Talking about obviously the importance of putting yourself first, right? I think a lot of us naturally, or a lot of us responsible and respectable individuals look after and take care of, a decent amount of individuals. So really just kind of talking about the importance of, making time for yourself and putting yourself first to be able to be in the best position to care for and look after those particular individuals. So again, welcome. Keep it thorough Thursdays. It's your boy E Double.
Yeah. What's up, good people? Cedric Lavelle. And what's this, episode 26?
26, man. Episode
26,
26.
bro. 26, man. It's been moving fast, bro. Health is your wealth. That's a fact, man. That's a fact, bro. On all spectrums of it, whether it's physically, whether it's mentally, spiritually, emotionally, definitely gotta maintain the health, man. And yeah, excited about this one. Definitely gonna be a good episode. As usual, Kid is in the bio, or will be in the bio, one of the two.
It's in always.
It's in there already. So be certain that you guys go and check out Kit 26. Also check out 1 through 25. See the progress that we've made. We definitely appreciate you all for tuning in week to week, listening to us just kind of chop it up on some of the things that we've experienced, some of the things that have been on our minds, some of the things that's going on in today's society. And we're going to continue just to give you good content, good concepts. And hopefully in the process, somebody can see those things as being beneficial, and however it can help you out, we definitely gonna leave that there for you to decide. So let's get into it, bro.
So yeah, so today's episode, for those of y'all who just joined, is about learning to choose self, right? So the importance of looking after yourself and taking care of yourself to be able to be the best version of yourself for the other people that are in your life, right? So we're getting that started. The first kind of segment we want to touch on is prioritizing yourself. So go ahead, Seth. I'll let you kick it off. So what does it mean to prioritize yourself?
Prioritizing yourself. So like you said in the beginning, man, it's important to understand that you have to put yourself first. I've always believed that in order for me to help somebody else, I have to be able to help myself, right? And I can't give somebody the best. I can't help somebody be the best version of themselves if I'm not working on being the best version of myself, right? And in many cases, a lot of times people can overextend themselves and wear themselves thin by doing so much for others, and they forget to take care of their own home. So I'm home as in body, who they are, their well-being. And so prioritizing yourself is putting your needs first. What do you need to be functional? What do you need to thrive? What do you need to be at your best self? So most importantly, just being your number one option. Like you are the go-to person, right? Like you don't look to extend yourself or overextend yourself to other people, but you focus on what you need to be well, what you need to thrive, what you need to be focused, what you need to maintain good health, because it's so easy to allow others to kind of just weigh you down, right? And like I said, man, too often people can wear themselves thin by looking to please everyone else without satisfying their own needs, right? And so you miss the opportunity to really grow and to develop and to be the best version of yourself, to progress day by day when you're so focused on helping other people. And then also, in addition to that, dealing with other people's problems. You know what I'm saying? And that can also be challenging, right? And so I think it's just the idea of being mindful, right? Just learning to choose yourself. It helps you recognize your worth and what you want, right? And it's important to live in a way that prioritizes your fulfillment and prohibits others from making you feel empty, right? And so you want to be on full as much as you can, right? Pouring into yourself. You know, whether that be through reading, whether that be through meditation, whether that be through spending time with people that you know that love you and that care for you, whether that be through working out or taking on a new hobby or learning something educational, whatever it is that allows you to pour into yourself. You know what I'm saying? That really helps in giving you that groundwork and that foundation to be at your best, right?
And
And then you can
I think that
extend yourself.
analogy too is well, not even necessarily analogy, but I'm gonna give an analogy, right? But the point you made about pouring into yourself, like we don't want to be, and I think a lot of people maybe overlook this because we get caught up in the day-to-day, the day-to-day task of life,
Right.
right? And a lot of people be out here riding around on E, right? And what I mean by that is every little thing that you do for others is taken out of your gas tank, right?
Right. Oh yeah,
So,
for sure.
you know, if you gotta go, you know, run to the grocery store and go pick up something for your mom, right? You gotta go drop your kids off at school or at daycare and then pick your kids up school or daycare. And then, you know, something like working, right? If you work in a job, that drains a lot of your gas tank, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're dealing with the stresses of work. And then you get off and, you know, whether you got to go pick the kids up or, you know, figure out dinner, whatever. So you're just doing all of these things, right? That's emptying your gas tank. And then next thing you know, you won't eat. And then you know, on the opposite end of that, somebody may come in contact with you and you may be irritable. You may be in a bad place. And it's because you haven't done anything to kind of pour back into yourself, right? Like
Exactly,
where,
bro.
um,
Absolutely.
making time for yourself and prioritizing yourself is okay. Like, what are some hobbies? What are some things that you like to do? What are some that's just for you? And I think that's the most important thing, right? Like, it has to be something for you, right? Just
Right.
because you, if you're doing something that somebody else likes, and you know you really like them, so you're doing it with them. That's not the same thing. It needs to be for you. What are you
Right.
doing for you, right? And that allows you to pour back into that gas tank, right, and bring it back up, and that'll help with like your irritability. I can't say the word now.
Yeah.
Irritability.
One of the
Man,
two.
it's just
We
fine,
get
right?
you. Yeah.
But it'll help with you being irritable and all of those various things, and put you in a better mood and give you more energy and, you know, all those types of things. But when you being pulled in all these different directions and you not prioritizing yourself, making time for yourself, pouring back into yourself, then you deal with those, you know what I mean? That cycle of,
Yeah.
you know, and
And
I'm
you
sure
you,
we
you
all,
run on fumes.
yeah, right. And
You
we've
get you
all
running
been
on
around
fumes.
those people who just, damn, what's wrong with them? You know what I mean? Energy bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ain't got really too much going. Like, it's just a constant routine of, I hate my job. I hate this. I hate that. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know, so very important.
Yeah.
Prioritize
Don't
yourself.
don't be out here running on E. You know what I'm saying? just find those times to be stingy. You know, and it's okay. It's okay to be stingy. It's okay
Yeah,
to take
Drake
time.
lied. Don't be running on E. He said something
Yeah,
about like riding on E.
man,
Damn.
you got to take time for yourself because when you think about it, it gets it gets too expensive to try to pour back into you because you wore down so thin, and so it just takes so much to try to get yourself back going. And a lot of times people they lose the strength, you know, to even endure or to even press forward, right? It's just like everything just kind of compiles on them and they get to a point where it's like, I don't know what else to do, excuse me, to even get to a point where I feel like I'm back full, I'm recharged. Like because every time
We
I
get it.
look up, there's something else I got to do. Somebody else calling me here, and now it's so challenging to say no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that causes a lot of difficulty for sure.
Well, and to go back to the car analogy, right? Like if the car get broke down enough, it's gonna take more work to get it fixed back up. You know what I mean? Where
Exactly.
you can put gas in it. You know what I mean? If it's broken, but if it ain't working right, you know what I mean? It ain't gonna get you nowhere. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And that just comes with awareness.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
being
So
aware of where you at. I know I'm at half a tank. Or it's like I know that I've been doing a lot. Let me let me
let me make time for
recharge
myself. Let
myself.
me take a little trip. Let me,
Right, right.
you know what I mean? Let me, yeah, no, exactly, exactly.
You got to be mindful. And that's basically what the what to know. Be mindful of what order you place on your own well-being. And it enables you to effectively determine what you can give. right? So when you're mindful of where you're at, right, and you give yourself a temperature check, so to speak, it's like, okay, I know I'm here, and I don't need to be here, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, let me do something for me. That way, I know what I can give. You know, whether it's attention to somebody, whether it's attention to a job, a certain task, whatever the case may be. Like, you have to be mindful of where you're at. That way, you can make the necessary adjustments to be at full force.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. But yeah, no, but in summary, in that section, prioritizing yourself, man. I know it's probably like, we talked about this too, said before, you know what I mean, when we decided on this episode about, maybe, I guess, controversy or controversial, like, thoughts around, because like if you talk to most parents, they'll say, like they put them kids before themselves, right?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
like,
yeah.
or their spouse or whatever they say. But the reality is this, and what I always like to go back to is when it comes to like safety, right? Like when you're on that airplane and they going over the safety instructions, what do they tell you about that mask, right? They tell you to make sure you have your mask on first
Before
you help the other person. And the reason for that is if you're the one that's in charge of taking care of everybody, if something happened to you, then by default, something's going to happen to them
what
as
happened to
well.
them.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
like, you got to make sure you're good and the best version of yourself to then be the best version for them.
Them.
If you're beat down and wore down running on E, then you can't
give them what they need.
Give them what they need, right? So you definitely got to prioritize yourself and put yourself first, right? Now,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean, like, obviously, when we talk about being like selfish, right? Like, it's different with your children, right? Like, there's balance. There has to be
Yeah.
balance.
And then there's
Children are
sacrifices.
extremely important, and you got to make sacrifices, but you got to take care of yourself, like,
Right.
period, point blank. But so going on to the next segment, is about setting boundaries. So, right, we talked about prioritizing yourself, right? Now, with that being said, you still got to work with people. You still got to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, deal with people. You got to take care of people. You got family, you got kids, you got a
Yeah.
spouse, you got, you know what I mean, all those good things. But with that being said, you got to know how to set proper boundaries. And going on with that whole concept, creating the outline. So, like, what does that outline look like? The two first points that I'm gonna touch on, they're very related. So I'm a piggyback or kind of play ping pong with the two. But they're make yourself less accessible, and then the second one is make no part of your vocabulary. So by making yourself, what does making yourself less accessible mean, right? Those people. So what? Two situations: work and your personal life.
Yeah.
And work, I'm gonna use this for like when you first start a job, or if you've been somewhere for a while and you're trying to be promoted, right? You're more likely to say yes, right? Because you're trying to impress, your
Yes.
boss or your superior or those around you to kind of put yourself in a good light, right? So yes, 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 yes. Where it's very important that you really think about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, okay, because taking on too much can be a negative, because
Right.
now you're not efficient, you're not operating on all cylinders, and now it's like, okay, this person doesn't know how to properly manage their time management sucks, or their attention to detail is off, or whatever the case may be. So by making yourself less accessible, right, being smart, right, and then in your personal life, it's just natural for those you love, right, like your mom or your wife or your husband or whatever the case, your kids. It's just natural to just want to say yes to them, right, want to help out. But the same holds true with them. And you gotta balance and make sure you're not overexerting yourself and agreeing to too much. You know what I'm saying? So now to go back to the second part of this, which is make no part of your vocabulary. I was watching, I can't remember who it was, but it was a video. I think it was Ian Dunlap or somebody from Earn Your Leisure. It was one of them posted this gentleman. I don't know what his name is, but he said that you gotta be stingy with your yeses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And use no. And basically what he said is, by giving away, like your yeses is like currency, right?
Yeah.
So if you say yes, 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 yes all the time, he said you can miss out on opportunities because you don't have any more yeses to give,
Right.
right? So like, you can interpret that however you can, because I think there's a bunch of different ways to interpret that. But the way I kind of interpreted that was this: if you say yes too much, right, you can get to a point where you get burnt out, where you're not able to, put yourself in a position to be able to, properly benefit from like a potential blessing that is for you, something that is for you,
Right.
because you caught up doing a whole bunch of stuff that you shouldn't be doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's really kind of like the way I interpreted that. Like,
Nah, for sure.
if you're giving away all your yeses and not being mindful of your time, when something comes along that you really should be doing, you're not gonna have the time to do it.
You're
You
gonna
know,
have the energy for it,
or the
or
or the
really more than
energy,
the
because you
intent to do
burnt
it. Yeah.
out from all this other stuff. So make no part of your vocabulary, 100%. You know what I mean? And that goes again, um, in tandem with what I said about making yourself less accessible, right? By saying no, you're making yourself less accessible. You know what I mean? And just be mindful of what you're agreeing to, and who those people are that you're agreeing to, right?
Right.
Which we'll touch on in a couple bullet points down. So the next one is, make sure you state your limits, right? So in a situation where you do say yes, right? Say you agree to help a friend with a business, or you agree to, um, I don't know, I'm gonna just go with the business.
Yeah.
Make sure you set a clear outline on what, the limits of your help
Right.
are. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I can help you with this, this, and this, but I can't do this, this, and this
X,
because
Y,
I
and
only
Z.
have this amount of time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So like, and be very specific, right? I think the more specific you are, the better, because then there's no room for gray area. There's no assumptions. You know what I'm saying? But you got to state your limits, and this same thing goes with like work, right? So if you're in a situation where, you're trying to impress your superior, your boss, whatever the case may be, because you're trying to get the promotion, and people are asking you to do various things, you got to state your limits. So like, and then properly communicate, like, okay, I can't do that and that because of this, but I can help you with this,
Right.
this portion of this project, or whatever the case may be. Like, but be sure to state your limits, and be very specific. It's important to be specific with your limits, so that it's clearly understood by both parties, and there's no room for gray area, which can cause, conflict.
Conflict.
And
Yep.
so be sure to state your limits. And then the last part of creating your outline is, make reciprocation a request requisite, right? So basically, this goes back to what I was saying about, like, be mindful of who you're saying yes to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if people aren't reciprocating the same type of energy that you're giving them, you got to be mindful of that, right?
Right. You got to
And
peep it.
that's what we mean by making it a requisite, right? Like, okay, I'm not gonna help you if you're not helping me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm not gonna invest time and energy into what you got going on if it's not being reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? If the only time you hear from somebody is when they need something, right?
It's one-sided
Then
relationship.
that's a person you should be saying no to,
Right.
right? And you also don't want to be enabling people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and which is very easy to do it, like with siblings, you know what I mean? Sisters, brothers, you know what I
Right.
mean? Uncles, aunts, cousins, you know what I mean? Parents, you know what I mean? Very easy to do with family because you love them. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then if you got it, you're like, okay, well, I can't help them. It ain't really hurting me. But at the end of the day, you're hurting them. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? You're enabling them. And that bad behavior will continue. So again, set limits on that help if you can help, right?
Right.
But you gotta be sure that that same energy is being reciprocated. You know what I mean? That they're there for you like you are for them. They support you like you support them. You know what I mean? And now everybody goes through tough times and rough patches and may need help, but you know what the history is. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like you know what the history and what that energy has been like up until that point of that tough time. So you be the judge of that. But definitely make reciprocation a requisite. You know what I mean? Like for sure.
Gotta
That
do
is
that.
very, very, very say that 5 times fast too. But make
Requisite. Oh, make reciprocation requisite.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know if I can do that, bro. I might. Hold on. Yeah, I might mess that up. I
But
ain't gonna
yeah,
try.
but very, very important. And then so yeah, so to recap and then talk about the impact. So obviously setting boundaries and with creating a outline, you make yourself less accessible, make no part of your vocabulary, make sure you state your limits and make reciprocation the requisite. You know what I mean? And then what's the impact of that? Everyone won't fit into your plans. Um, that will work out for you and your well-being. Part of getting your life in the best shape is getting rid of bad weight. Be confident in exercising your right to have boundaries and giving responses that are beneficial to you. So, in summary, everybody doesn't fit into your plan and what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. If people are in there, you know what I mean, in your life and in situations that are causing more harm than good, I have a saying that I have said and a bunch of other people in my life: if helping you is hurting me, then I can't do it anymore because I'm not helping nobody. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like, yeah, you benefiting from it, but I'm pulling out. I'm emptying my tank. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So that's not helping nobody. And now if my tank is empty and yours get back empty, then what?
Then we both stuck out of
You know what I'm saying? We
of,
go back to the
of the
whole
creek. Yeah,
analogy about putting your mask on first. I got to make sure I'm straight before I can help you. And now if my mask fell off, I got to fix my mask back first before I can, you know what I mean? Worry about yours. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So yeah, that's basically setting boundaries. Did you have anything you wanted to add on that shit?
I'm gonna say this though too. When we were talking about make reciprocation a requisite, and so even if it's not matching as far as I give you this or whatever, and when I need it, you give it back. I say some taking it a step further, it's also about rather the effort that you put forth, right? So if I'm helping you do something, you know what I'm saying, whether it be financially or whether it be me giving my time or my energy towards something, make certain that you're putting forth at least an equal amount of effort, right?
Yeah.
Like make sure you're being a person of your word. If you say that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, do that. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's expected of you to do whatever the case may be, like make sure that's what you're doing. Make certain that the investment that was poured into you, that you're giving the best possible return on that investment. Whether it's, like I said, whether it's somebody investing their time, their energy, their efforts, their money, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? That's also, reciprocating, right? Because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
never want to
It
make the
doesn't have
person
to be tit
feel,
for tat, right?
yeah,
Like, oh, I helped you with some money, so now you got to help me. No, not at all. Like, but in a situation where they need your assistance and you can help out, then yeah, be sure to do that. That's reciprocating. It's really more about reciprocating the energy. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like, yeah, that's very important.
Big thing right there. So there we go, man. So last slide, man. Self-care. Self-care. Everybody's familiar with that word, self-care, taking care of yourself. But we've got four different bullet points that we're going to speak on. How you want to do it? You want to take the first two, I take the second, or
Yeah,
vice
that's fine.
vice
I
versa.
can take the first two. So all right, so self-care. Care is an acronym. So compliment, arrange, reward, engage. I'll take the first two. So compliment yourself regularly. Be your greatest supporter and biggest motivator. Very important to give yourself kudos. I've been told, and my wife as well, that we don't give ourselves enough credit at times, right? And I think part of that is, just being very hard workers and kind of focused on the end goal. And then once that box gets checked, then okay, we're setting new goals. I ain't really got
Right,
time to celebrate. That's not necessarily healthy though. You know what I mean? Like, gotta celebrate your wins, celebrate your successes, cheer yourself on 100%. But don't soak in it, right? Like
right.
celebrate your wins, success, and then keep it moving. But definitely celebrate those wins, and compliment yourself. You know what I mean? Very important. Um, nobody else. It's nobody else's job to believe in you. You know what I'm saying? It's your
Yeah.
job to believe in you, right? And nobody else will truly believe in you until you believe in
Believe in
yourself,
yourself.
right?
That's a fact,
So,
bro.
you gotta put your, and again, this goes with putting yourself first, prioritizing yourself, making time for yourself, all those very important things. Self-care, right? What is it called? Self-care. You know what I mean? You got to take care of self. You know what I mean? But definitely. And then the second one is arrange time to do things for yourself. So embrace the habit of finding moments to retreat and recharge. And this goes back to what we were talking about pouring into yourself, right? You got to find time to do that. If you always on go mode, doing this, doing that, doing things for others, helping everybody else, but not doing nothing for yourself, you're gonna burn out eventually. Period,
Right.
point blank. Some people can go a little longer than others, but you're gonna hit a breaking point. Everybody has a breaking point. So it's very important to pour back into yourself and arrange time for yourself. And to add on to that, like what are signs that you aren't doing that, right? Like if
Yeah.
you always angry, if you irritable, you know what I mean? If and then one thing that I found within myself, right, is being in those moods and you don't know why,
Right.
right? Like being irritable, like nobody necessarily has done anything to you, but you're just not in the greatest
Just in the
mood,
mood. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And it's like you got to like sit back and think, like it's a snowball effect. You know what I mean? Like if for the last month, 2 months, you've been doing this, going hard, and you ain't really been pouring back into yourself, that's just you burned down. Like, you know, you're mentally fatigued. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a lot going on, and like that causes you to be irritable. That causes you to be frustrated or get frustrated, you know, extremely easy. And, you know, and
Right.
then naturally people start to take that out on other people, and you're not a joy to be around. Your energy, you drain the energy. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what some of those things like look like. So be mindful. You know, self-care also requires a lot of self-awareness. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Absolutely.
got to be
They go
self-aware,
synonymous to each other.
right? You know, so very very important. And then I'll let you take the last two. Said.
So the next two is reward yourself for big and small wins, and then engage yourself in fulfilling relationships. So with rewarding yourself for big and small wins. Now, obviously, we were talking about complimenting yourself regularly, but with rewarding yourself for big and small wins is basically acknowledging your progress, no matter the size of the significance. And so, a lot of times, people may get into a situation where they may do something and it's like, okay, all right, yo, that's cool. Or they may do something else and they just don't acknowledge it. But acknowledge the progress that you've made, no matter how big or how small it is, right? If you're going through a journey of getting through traumas, if you're going through a journey of getting through abuse, if you're going through a journey of getting through, financial things or whatever the case may be, no matter how small of the progress that you've made, acknowledge that. Pat yourself on the back. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself that confidence to continue to move forward because that's important, right? And I say, whether it's an inch or whether it's a mile or whether it's, 20 miles, right? Every movement forward is progress. So as long as you're not moving back or you're not standing still, you're making some sort of progress. So you want to acknowledge that. You want to, be champion your own path and your own courageousness to move forward and do what it takes to get to where it is that you're trying to go. Right. So make sure that you reward yourself for big and small wins. And then lastly,
Which
engage.
I want to
Go
add on to
ahead,
that,
bro.
man. So like I got a song on that, right? Called Minimal. I got a song called Minimal Gains, right? And like on it, the hook is any progress is better than a setback. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely, bro.
regardless of how small that step is, you know what I mean? You're taking a step in the right direction. And there's been a lot of motivational speakers and stuff, which is growing because of social media. And one thing that you've been hearing a lot of is try to be 1% better every day, right?
Right.
Even the very incremental gain over a large period of time is a big win. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
It
celebrate those small,
compounds.
right? Yeah, they compounds and celebrate those small successes and small victories because they also help to motivate you. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
to keep going. But I just wanted to
Nah, you're right, bro. You're right. And I God rest his soul, but I heard Kobe Bryant talking about that. I can't remember specifically what it was as far as the details of the conversation, but basically he was just saying how he understands that, a positive action plus another positive action no matter how big or how significant it is, in the end, it's going to lead to something positive, right? It's just like the way that the math works. Like one positive thing plus another positive thing is going to eventually lead to something positive. You know,
Yeah.
it's inevitable. What it's going to look like, you don't know. But if you continue to get 1% better every day, or like I would say, if you progress towards better every day, right? If you do something that's going to move you towards whatever better is for your life, whether that's personal, professional, physical, whatever better looks like for you, if you're progressing towards that every day, in the end, the outcome is going to be favorable, right? Because you're going to learn so much that's going to be beneficial to your growth. You're going to experience so many things that are going to be helpful, not only for you, but for the people that's also in your circle, right? So you got to acknowledge those things, even though that you're enduring through a process and it's challenging, it is difficult, or it may hurt, you know, just really just focus on the progress, focus on going through that process and understanding that every opportunity is a learning experience. It's something that you can use for yourself, and that's going to be valuable for somebody else as well too. And that's beneficial. You know what I'm saying? That not only helps you grow and helps you be molded into who you need to be, but you can give that to somebody else, right? You allow another person to be hopeful because they can look at your situation and be like, man, they got through it. So I know that I can do it as well too, right?
Yeah.
And so then the last thing, engage yourself in fulfilling relationships. So keep individuals that bring out the best in you close. You know what I'm saying? So even when you know you're choosing yourself, you want to make certain that you also keep people that are in your circle that pour into you, just like what we were talking about earlier. You know, even in the opportunities where you're not pouring into yourself, it's always good to have somebody in your corner to say, hey man, slow it down. You doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Take a load off. Let me help you out in doing this. Or how can I help you? Okay, this is what you got going on. Let me assist you, right? You know, it really helps when you have people that you're surrounded with that see your vision, that really want the best for you, that really want to see you thrive, that want to see you being successful,
And
that want to see
and that you trust, right? And
and
that
that
you
you
can,
trust, because that's important
yeah,
too. You got to be able to trust them and trust their word, because if they tell you something, you know, you want to take it to heart and be like, okay, you're right. I know that you mean well, so I want to make certain that I'm doing right by you. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. And those people should also be doing those same things, right? They
You got
should
to
be pouring
reciprocate,
into themselves. They should be putting themselves first, self-care and proper
right?
things. And then you should be that same type of person for them, which goes back to reciprocating that energy. You know what I mean? It should be reciprocated amongst all of your friends. You know what I mean?
That's the
All
key.
those
That's a
people that you
fact,
keep
bro.
in your circle. You know what I mean? But no, 100 shit, 1,000%.
Yeah, but you want to definitely get in good relationships, because obviously, man, you can't move forward by yourself. Like, this ain't no one man band. You know what I'm saying? As much as people try to just make it about themselves and do for self and do. Like, no, it's beneficial when you have a companion, or you have somebody that's connected to you, that can really challenge you, but also let you know, hey, you know, let's just do it. Let's move a little bit slower, or think about doing it this way, or let's just scale it back a little bit. That way you can, you know, get a breather. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to overexert yourself. And like we've been saying, you overexert yourself when you weigh yourself thin, then you have nothing left to give. And then if that vehicle breaks down, it's going to be too expensive to repair it. So if you have somebody that can give you that checkpoint and be like, hey, we right here. Let's tone it down. Let's recharge, retreat, and then let's move forward. So definitely engage in those fulfilling relationships. Got anything else, bro? Before I get the
No,
final
no,
thought out here.
no. Go ahead and hit
Hey,
them.
so final thought. Take inventory of all the things that help or hinder you. And that should be a daily practice. So to choose yourself first is to choose to commit to becoming the best version of yourself, right? And so if you're choosing yourself first and you're making yourself a priority, you're choosing to be the best version of yourself. And as I said in the beginning, when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you can definitely help somebody else become the best version of themselves. And if you just keep that cycle going, you know, everybody can thrive, everybody can flourish, but you also want to make certain that you're choosing yourself first, prioritizing your needs, your expectations, your wants, and then in the end, you know, you can have a very happy and fulfilled life, and live into whatever it is that you wanted to live into your purpose. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I
Hey,
got, bro.
nobody got you like you got you.
That's
Period.
it, man.
You know what I mean? So you got to make sure you take care of you, right? And then, on top of that, people see the way you take care of you, right? So you can set the blueprint for how other people need to deal with you and what you're going to tolerate, which
Right.
goes back to what we spoke on about, stating your limits and all that. But no, but a very good episode, man. Just in summary, right? Prioritize yourself, set boundaries, and take care of yourself. Self-care. As always, the kit is in the bio. So episode 26, 26 kits on there. This Learning to Choose Self kit. We say this every single time. We got a bunch of stuff coming, and we really do. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes.
Oh yeah.
But and you should definitely start seeing the fruits of some of that labor within the next, I'll say, few weeks. You know what I mean? Maybe 2.5, 3 weeks. So with all that said, if you don't do nothing else, keep
Yeah.
it thorough.
Keep it thorough.
And we'll
Till
holler
next
at
time.
y'all next
See you next
time.
Thursday. Have a great
Deuces.
week.
Yeah.